And the Lord said to Moses, So take in your hand your rod with which you struck the river, and go. Behold, I will stand before you there on the rock in Horeb, and you shall strike the rock, and water will come out of it, that the people may drink. And Moses did so in the sight of the elders of Israel.
So this is a site we're heading to, the split rock. It's on the other side of the mountain. You could say the backside of Mount Sinai. And this was our first view that we saw. And you can see this prominent, vertical, huge.
Amazing how it even is there. I don't even understand how it would appear like
it's
that.
sitting like on a 200, 300 foot tall hill, sticking straight up.
And it doesn't look that large looking from here, but then I guess when you get right up to it...
It's, 50, 60 feet tall.
Goodness.
It's just amazing. We made our way around the back or left side of it and parked and then came around. You can see water erosion right here where they're climbing.
Yeah, everything's smooth. That's
Yes.
not wind erosion.
You see the erosion in the rock. We're getting closer to it here. That's the Bedouin, the guy on the right there.
Strange, almost junkyard looking kind of area.
A lot of different formations here.
Now this is, you're going to show us later, this is not the only rock. Everyone assumes that the two incidents happened at the same rock.
Right, there will be totally separate areas. Other ones in Israel. So here is a kind of a side view of it. Now here's a front view. You could say this is the best view of it through the crack. You see my friends walking down there on the right, but that gives you a size perspective. We're standing in front of it here. This is just massive. And the water erosion right in front here. And the water erosion in the crack even. It's just spectacular. And out there would be where they'd be encamped, the encampment area. So again, water erosion of the rock here inside the crack. You see massive amounts, so high volume of water.
Has anyone attempted to see if there is a spring underneath there?
I've not heard that. I don't see any water running around. I guess God turned the spigot off and that was it,
It served its purpose.
Yeah, and so we're going straight up, looking in through the crack. It's incredible. And so this is the back side of the rock. It's not as impressive from the opposite direction.
You know, it's almost as if God was giving them a reminder of when he split the sea. I'm sure it looked like that, all coming up and separating with a split in the middle, almost like a memorial to the crossing of the
Another
Red Sea.
split there, yeah, that's right. And looking another view here going down.
Now, the amazing thing to remember, too, is that this rock, providing this is the right rock, and we assume it is,
Yes.
that it was solid at the time before.
When Moses struck it. That's right. God split it, you know.
I can imagine just the earth shaking of something like that, splitting in an instant.
Well, and being able to see that too, if you're one of the people in the encampment and seeing this thing split.
Yeah, after they had forgotten about the Red Sea crossing.
That's right. They're already grumbling and ready to strangle Moses.
Yeah.
Brought us out to the desert to die.
Oh, wonderful. Well, I certainly hope there are tours out to that very soon. As you mentioned, there's no road that goes out there. Someone's going to have to build a road to go see this place. Unless you hire a Bedouin for $150.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. So here it is from the ground, out in the lower area.
And that's the Bedouin fellow in the white, is that right?
Just some friends of his.
That's friends
yeah.
of his.
Came up there. And again, looking down the lower area here, you can see water erosion.
Still there. Look at that.
And down to the right would be the Mount Sinai area. Now this is the Jehovah Nisi in the King James that was built by Moses after they defeated the Amalekites. I think it's translated as "the Lord is my banner," perhaps.
Definitely a man-made structure there, yes.
Yeah, a lot of detail originally. I think they kind of broke it up. Somebody did later, looking for treasure, perhaps. Maybe they thought it was a burial site, you know.
Desert has an amazing way of preserving things.
Yes.
Even some cultures preserve their dead at the top of a dry mountain, and the body's dry. And
yeah. But this had a lot of detail work to it originally. And then, of course, the backdrop is the split rock.
You can imagine that would be almost like a lake area at one point.
At some point, it would have pulled up. Now, I ran across these inscriptions. Nobody had told me, where they were or anything. But here you see, every place whereon the soles of your feet shall tread shall be yours. And so they were putting markings of where they tread, saying, this land is ours. We were here. Here is our sandal, our foot mark,
Yep, trace.
And here some like ibex animals are being hunted. See the bow and arrow. Some more here. And, is this Moses with his arms being held up on either side? He had to hold his arms up for them to keep winning the battle. Here's a guy here on the right. He's like he's almost shooting down at something. Now, this is an image. I sent a bunch of these to a friend of mine. He said, this one here is the most impressive. It looks like Moses here on the right striking the rock and it's splitting in two. Notice the rock here on the left has smaller boulders in the front. Mm-hmm. This does too. And it's like the rock is split. And Moses has his rod up here and he's splitting the rock.
Wow.
So that's possible. But again, it's found here in the encampment area.
But even the detail of the rock on the left, with the two different areas of it.
Right. And so we're heading out again to another area. Seeing some of our friends on the way. They're looking at the drone, thinking it's a giant flying beast. And so we're heading away. And we see some of our friends held captive here. being transported someplace. I hope not to market.
In the 3rd month, when the children of Israel were gone forth out of the land of Egypt, the same day came they into the wilderness of Sinai. For they were departed from Rephidim, and were come to the desert of Sinai, and had pitched in the wilderness, and there Israel camped before the mount.
And so now we're heading to the Mount Sinai area proper, the mountain of God with a burned, blackened peak.
And there it is.
And so this is one way we came in from the north. It's best really to come in from the south. But this was our first view we had. I said to the guys, there's Mount Sinai. They said, what? And so behind the gas station back here, the furthest peak is a blackened peak. The closer peaks is like where Elijah's cave is and so forth. Quite amazing. There is the area in front of the mountain. A mountain of God.
Beautiful. Walking right where the Israelites would have walked.
That's right. And so,
Wow.
Moses Mount. هذا جبل موسى.
yeah, so he's telling us, that's Moses Mount, Mountain of Moses. So there's, local tradition there. And there's the burned blackened peak on the left.
Have you been up to the peak?
I've not. It's technically off limits to climb the mountain. We had this local there watching us with binoculars all the time. So Elijah's cave kind of in the middle there, and up at the top we see this tree between two boulders. We'll be taking a look at those sites. But we know that there's an altar at the base of the mountain. That's where we're headed, is to...
At the arrow there?
Yeah. And so we have to turn off the main road, and you need to drive beside these buildings here to head toward the base of the mountain. Locally, that local guy there, thankfully, is helping us, get to this spot. We didn't know exactly where to go.
I'm assuming without local accompaniment, you may not be able to make it through there.
Yeah, we might still be looking for it, so it's nice to have help. I think God sent him to help us out. But, so we're on the way toward the base of the mountain. We can only go so far. We're going to park up here a little ways, following the fence. And up ahead here, I'm driving and filming, but this is a parking area where you can park your truck and get out.